I am Monika, a real estate broker. In my professional opinion, it makes huge difference whether you will be working with a local insurance broker or just get somebody online without one-on-one interview. A local professional knows the area, they know the risks, the house, and they'll take the time to make sure you get the policy that covers you for risks that you actually need. And I would like to introduce you today to Austin Williams from 925 Partners, who is a wonderful professional and will make sure you get the right coverage.
Thank you, Monica. No, completely agree. And I think it is really important having an agent that lives in the area, knows the area, knows the volatility of the Florida market, and being able to get a policy that best fits the client's needs. They're never, every client's different, and so their coverage should be different too.
Yes, 100%. And from my perspective, let's not forget about the fact that the ability to actually get the coverage for a home and at what price will determine whether my buyer client is able to get that house. So super important. And then in Florida, in terms of components of the home, the age of them will determine whether you can get the coverage and at what price. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so we're really looking at 4 major systems in a home. So your roof, plumbing, electrical, air conditioning. We're looking at the condition and the age of those systems that gets verified during the inspection process on a 4-point inspection.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The other inspection that's really helpful is called a wind mitigation inspection. Mm-hmm. That looks at features of the roof and can get some discounts on the policy for that. Depending on the age of the home and the location, those discounts can be upwards of 20-30%. So definitely really significant. Yeah.
Yes. And it's very important to get the quote early in the process.
Yeah.
During the due diligence.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's your recommendation on bringing an insurance agent in through a home buying process?
Right away. We signed a contract. The next day is a perfect day to start getting quotes and making sure that there is nothing wrong with the house. So yes, I insist on doing that right away during the due diligence where my client's interest can be protected. And then I also insist on being copied on the correspondence between the agent and my client. This way I know that everything's going smoothly. Yeah, so very important in the beginning.
Yeah, that's really helpful with you being copied. We can, through the due diligence, whether you're at the house, before you put the offer in, or even, right after you get inspections, if we can get involved, we can maybe find errors that or issues with the home that we may be able to, flag that may make the insurance higher or maybe ineligible. And so when you're copied, being able to just get that information to you faster definitely helps the process as well.
Oh yeah, it always does. And in terms of getting that quote, it's also very important at that time to get the history of the house to find out if there were any prior claims. So from my own experience, I know the fact that we were right on it in the beginning prevented us from walking in a bad deal, because on this particular home, the homeowner made a claim and took $30,000 worth for the damage of the siding, but they never replaced the siding. So my client, it would have been in a very serious delay with the purchase of this home before that gets settled. So yes, that helped a lot.
Yeah, and that looking at prior claims is really easy for us. It's part of our process. So we look back 3 to 5 years, depending on the carrier, on claims. And we're able to tell if the claim's open or closed or how much is paid. And so that's all information we can relay to you on potential properties that can be really, really helpful during the negotiation process.
Oh, it really is, because if I find out there is actually a claim for serious work and nothing of this kind is disclosed, then it helps us to look deeper in that and we look at it during the inspection. So yes, it's just huge, huge, huge advantage.
Yeah.
Now in Florida, especially, the flood insurance is a very, very important topic. If you could tell us more about the FEMA and the limits that it has, the FEMA flood coverage versus the private coverage, that I think would be very important for my clients to know.
Yeah, so we've got two different places you can buy flood insurance. You can get it through the federal government, on a FEMA policy. And those limits are typically cap out at $250,000 for the building.
Yeah.
Pretty low. And the coverages that they offer is a lot more limited than through the private market. Private market policies do allow us to go up to the full dwelling value if we need to. And they do often cover additional endorsements like replacement costs on personal items and loss of use if the home's damaged during a flood. So a lot of flexibility there. And that doesn't always mean it's more expensive through the private market either, even though the coverage can be better.
Right. And not so many people know to look there.
Yeah.
So yes, that's why, you come in. That is very important. And then, a lot of times people think that they have coverage for something, turns out they don't, right?
Yeah. No, very, very true. We see often where policies are missing, certain coverages, or the initial quote they get is really just, a quick quote to get them through closing, not really the best policy for them. And I know you see this all the time. So when you're going through the process, you're copied on those emails. What do you see from a coverage perspective where, maybe a client, like what coverages do you often see that are missing, or maybe they've been reduced down when you're seeing those quotes come from other agents?
I see that all the time. Because I think that most insurance agents think that their policy has to be low in terms of price, and that will get them the business. So with that, I see all the time. The last example, on $1 million home, my client was quoted policy with only $100,000 of liability insurance, which is laughable, right? So yes, and then very low, limits, the lowest possible limits on the personal property, which is always a problem.
Yeah.
So yes, it is so important to make sure that the client goes through the coverage and ensures that the limits are appropriate to what they have and will protect them in the future. And the only way they can get it is from talking to a real person like you that will give them the time and explain everything. And then they're set, yes.
Yeah, and to your point, premium is very, very important. Obviously, you don't want to pay for stuff that you don't need, but oftentimes there are coverages that you really want or you think are covered that you would have paid additional premium for if you knew they were there. So definitely, taking a coverage-focused approach to insurances is really important. And most of the time, those little endorsements, like that liability scenario you talked about, bumping those limits from 100,000 to the next, level up, 300,000 or 500,000, we're talking very minimal premium increases. So it's something that, to your point, just going down the coverages, knowing what's available, and just making a conscious decision on what you want and don't want is definitely something that's worthwhile, especially when you're purchasing a new home.
Yeah, you're protecting your investment.
Yeah, that's right.
You work hard for it. Make sure it's protected.
That's right.
Yes, okay. So if you're listening to this, I encourage you to consult Austin and review your policy. Even if you have one already, review, make sure you're covered for what you think you're covered. And if you like the kind of expertise I bring to the table, I invite you to connect with me as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And anything we can do, let us be a resource for you on the real estate side or on the insurance side. We'd be happy to help.